Over the years, there's been a lot of debate about whether we'll ever get female Space Marines, and while I personally don't think we'll see them in the setting, there is actually a real example of how one woman took on the mantle of the Astartes, at least in a method of speaking. In Graham McNeil's 2002 novel Storm of Iron, we witnessed the Iron Warriors lay siege to the world of Hydra Caudatus, and during the early stages of that siege, a human lieutenant, Lorana Utorian, is taken prisoner by Kroger, the corn-worshipping captain of the Iron Warriors' second company. Lorana goes through literal hell in that novel. She's tortured physically and psychologically and treated as little more than Kroger's slave, forced daily to polish his gore-stained battle armour clean of her comrades' remains. However, during one of those intense moments, the cornate demon infused into Kroger's armour begins to speak to Lorana. At first, it simply teases out her deep hatred of her captors, but goes on to suggest how such hatred and bloodlust could in fact be her salvation. Eventually, Lorana's will breaks, and in a moment of desperation, she agrees to don Kroger's armour herself and let the demon assist her in claiming her vengeance. As with all demonic pacts, Lorana learns of her mistake far too late, losing her soul in the process, but what emerges from that moment does indeed go on to claim the vengeance the lieutenant sought, flaying Kroger alive in his own tent. More so, the creature takes on the appearance of a Chaos Space Marine, convincing not just Kroger's allies that their captain still silently leads them, but also the warp-infused warsmith leading the campaign. All of this is to say that while this creature cannot be said to be Lorana as such, and it certainly goes on to show that it's far more demon than anything else, there are some interesting notions at play here. Firstly, we know that there are possessed Chaos Space Marines that have made similar pacts to Lorana. They started as Astartes certainly, but if they've reached the same endpoint, does that show that it's less about the who and more about the pact? Do demons care for the distinction? And secondly, if Lorana can make that pact, are there other non-Astartes who could too, whether humans or Xenos? It's an interesting idea, and while I don't think we'll see it explored as openly as we did in Storm of Iron, it does suggest that just as the warp bends and breaks the rules of reality, maybe it has the power to do the same with our own expectations of Warhammer 40k too. But what do you think? Do you see Lorana as a female Chaos Space Marine of sorts, or maybe a one-off idea that we'll never see again? And what do you think happened to her in the end? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.